Hi, my name is Penny and welcome to my channel. Today I thought I would do the Gilmore Girls book tag because I like Gilmore Girls and I like books. I can't link the original tag below because it seems to have disappeared, but we'll do it anyway. So the first question is, Lorelai, name a character with a witty or sarcastic sense of humor. For that I've chosen Austin the cat from Summon the Keeper by Tanya Huff. So this series is all about the sarcastic humor, but definitely the best one of them all is Austin the cat. He is a talking cat and he is very cat-like. I just feel like if cats could talk, they would talk like Austin. This is a book that probably a lot of people haven't heard about. So this book is about keepers who keep the world safe from bad stuff coming through from alternate dimensions. There's a particular keeper who gets summoned to a hotel and ends up kind of protecting that safe. There's a portal to hell in the basement. Hell has a speaking part. There's just so much craziness goes on. You end up with elves in the mall and all sorts of other craziness. So if you like funny books, I would highly recommend this series. Next question is, Rory, name your favorite classic. So I often don't really like classics. Don't know if that will get me in trouble, but there are a few that I like, and probably my favorite would be Frankenstein. Definitely wasn't what I was expecting, and really my favorite chapters were the ones from the monster's point of view. So the next question is, Luke, a book you secretly love but are afraid to talk about. Honestly, I couldn't really find anything for this. The only one that maybe came close was Sati. I'm not sure if that's how you say it. Sati by Christopher Pike, and some of his other books which get into a lot of religious philosophy. Sometimes I don't like to talk about those books because you can never tell how people are going to take that kind of stuff. So it's often safer just to avoid the topic, even though I personally really like that kind of thing. And there are definitely other books, like Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn does a lot of religious philosophy, and lots of people talk about that, although they often don't talk about the religious aspect. Whereas in books like Sati, which is about a girl who turns up as a hitchhiker and says that she's God, and you're never really sure if she is, but it's pretty clear that Christopher Pike intended her to be. So that book really is just about religious philosophy, so you can't really talk about it without talking about that. So the next question is, Lane, name a musical character, and for that I would have to go with August from The Savage Song by V.E. Schwab. I'm sure you know about this series, but if you don't, basically whenever a violent act is perpetrated, a monster gets created from that act. And August is a monster, and he is what's known as a sunai, and when they play music they can steal the souls of sinners. So he walks around with a violin. So next question is, Dean, your first book love, and this is supposed to be like a person that you loved from a book, I think, and honestly I don't think I really fall in love with book characters. I might ship them with other book characters, but generally pretty happy for them to stay in the book. The only one that I could really maybe come up with was Darkwind from the Winds Valdemar series. Darkwind is a hawk brother who hooks up with Elspeth, who is the princess of Valdemar, and their relationship was one that I quite liked when I was younger. I think it was maybe one of the more healthy relationships from most of the books that I read. I'm not sure if that's true now, but I think so. Because obviously a lot of book relationships are actually quite unhealthy, so it's quite good when occasionally you get an actual relationship like one you might really want to be in. So yeah, I guess if I was going to give an answer, I would give Darkwind as an answer. The next question is, Suki, name a book that you devoured, and again, I would have to list every single book from the Kate Daniel series by Alona Andrews. Every time one of these books comes out, once I get my hands on it, I've read it within a couple of days. I love these books and they flow so well. They're so easy to read. I just devour them. So the next question is, Jess, name a book you love that everyone else hates. And again, I really couldn't come up with anything for this. What I decided to go with was Half Bad by Sally Green, because I have seen a lot of people say that they didn't enjoy this series, but there's also quite a few people who like this book, and I'm definitely on that side. I'm also 100% Team Jess all the way. So the next question is, Patty, a book ruined by the hype. This I decided to go with Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi, and it's hard to say. I don't know how I would have felt about this book if it wasn't for all the hype, but the hype was amazing, and when I read it, I actually really liked the beginning, which most people seem to like the least, but I really liked the beginning, and then once it got past kind of that nice poetic part, there really wasn't that much to it, in my opinion, and I didn't get much out of it. And I think that might have been just because I was expecting so much from it. So the next question is, Emily, name your most expensive book. And this one was a hard one because, as I think I've said, I really only buy books if they're on special or if I particularly like them. Very rarely spend very much on a book. So I had a look at my shelves, and the best one I could find is the Buffy series. So I have the first 3 volumes of Buffy season 8, and then I decided it was too expensive. See, I'm not good at buying expensive books. But these ones, they're quite big, quite heavy. They're definitely the most expensive books that I own. But the cover art is just beautiful, so I get to put them up on the top of my shelves and display them as art. And some of the art that's on the inside is pretty beautiful as well. So I think that they are definitely worth the money, although I still haven't convinced myself to buy the rest of the series. And I think it's just because that I would need to buy so many to have the whole series that I feel like I can't let myself buy any more, because then I'll just buy the whole lot and then I won't have any money left. So then the last question is, Paris, name an uptight character. And for that I decided to go with Elizabeth Wakefield from the Sweet Valley High books. This is actually the 10 years on Sweet Valley Confidential that came out, I don't know when it came out, more recently. My mum actually bought it for me, 2011, so that's still 6 years ago. But in this one, like, Elizabeth was always a little bit more highly strung. In this one, I actually hated Elizabeth. In the original books, I didn't like Jessica. I think you're not supposed to like Jessica. Maybe you are. Anyway, I didn't like Jessica. I really liked Elizabeth. But in these books, Elizabeth was so annoying. And it just made me really mad. She's so uptight. I mean, if you've read all the Sweet Valley High books, which I haven't, I read like smatterings of the Sweet Valley High books and also the Sweet Valley University books and also the Sweet Valley Twin books, just as I would find them randomly in the library. And also I think my neighbour had quite a big selection of Sweet Valley High books that I would borrow when I was a teenager. But regardless, I still thought that this book would be quite interesting, but instead it was just really annoying, and I almost wish I had never read it. So that's all the questions. I'd actually be really interested, since it was the question that I struggled with, what book loves do you have? So especially your first book love. What kind of people do people love in books? I don't know, so I'd love to learn more about that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.